I would say that Qatar is doing exactly what it wants to do.
Yeah.
I would easily say that because a lot of people from the West, okay, after the World Cup, what's happening there? You know, I got to see a lot more about it, but I don't know if I still want to go because a lot of propaganda happened in the West about Qatar and things like that. But for me, I really think they have the speed that they want. They see everybody else moving in a different direction and being something that they want to be.
Yeah.
And Qatar's saying, hey, we're happy like this.
100%.
And I would argue that you can do anything you want to do in this country. There's a lane for everyone. Where in some places the lane is super fast, and that's what it feels like is only fast.
Yeah.
And then here it's like, okay, if I want to do something, I can go over here and do that. If I'm an artist, I can go over here, do this. So I feel like Qatar is moving in that direction of like, yeah, this is what we're doing. We're doing it at our pace. And Qatar's always been like that. That's the brand of it. Like, yeah, this is what we're doing. We're happy with it. We're comfortable with it. You guys can do what you want to do.
I love what you just said, man. That's their brand. 100%. 100%.
I love it.
And
it's the marketer in me. I don't know how to.
and you also gotta look at it from the revenue stream perspective. Like tourism is not a revenue stream to them. You know what I mean? That's not something that I want as, you know, a revenue stream. My revenue streams, I already know them.
Yes.
So for me to like open up the country for everyone just for tourism, I'm not looking at it for money. I'm probably going to look at tourism as just like a marketing strategy to like just put my name up there as, you know, like this country that is leading the market in innovation in sports and just as a marketing tool. So to them, it's never going to be like something that they want to make money from, which is, so that's why they're moving at their own pace. You know what I mean?
I wouldn't say even pace, bro. They themselves, they're comfortable, they're happy. They don't need anything else.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So for them, they're, you know, to be moving, you have to have some kind of competitor. To them, there is no competitor because they see themselves as they're satisfied, they're content.
Right.
That's very true.
You know, they're content. So to them, it's like, alhamdulillah, like whether we move or not, we're content.
Yeah.
That's true.
You know?
MashaAllah, man.
Yeah.
MashaAllah,
A
MashaAllah.
lot of respect on that.
A lot of respect, man. Shout out to Qatar, man.
I know. Shout out to Qatar indeed.
I want to go back to something that we had talked about. I believe you talked about it a little bit in your upbringing here.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit about it off camera. You seem to have a good group of boys that now are men. They're boys to men. Like shout out to boys to men, the group. But you know they're now men now, right?
Yeah, fair enough.
And you still have those connections. You know how we talked about LeBron James and how his boys became businessmen.
Fair enough. Yeah.
You know, from friends to he invested in them, they became businessmen. How influential are your group of friends to what you do as a businessman and as a person?
Oh man, nice question indeed. So as someone that started their business, I think I was one of the first out of my boys to start their own thing, right? And I did it in a very clumsy way. Like it was never like, you know, studied, or it was just very like, hey, I'm going this direction, who's following? Yeah, pretty much. So it was actually me and my cousin talk about this a lot, like where I made a little bit of a mistake not lifting everyone that's around me, right? Where I felt like I'm heading that direction and I'm just going. I didn't want to, like, you know, not that I didn't want to. It just didn't occur to me that, okay, let me get people involved. You know what I mean? And it taps a lot into the personality of that, you know, little ego that I had as a kid, which was like, I can do everything by myself. You grow up and learn, obviously, and alhamdulillah, I learned my lessons the hard way. But I wish I would have done that, man. I wish I would have, you know, like the level that we reached as a startup. I wish I kind of like put it on hold, went back to my boys and be like, hey, I have this thing that is a great opportunity and it's kind of like, you know, booming. Let's all work on it together. I wish I've done that, man. But you live and you learn. But yeah, it's definitely now we're way more involved with each other. Now that even in my like new projects, you know, like even if they're not involved, at least I'll take their opinion. Like, hey, what should I do about this? Where back then it was never the case. It was just like ego management. You know what I mean? Like, I can do it by myself. But yeah, I wish I pulled the LeBron and just, you know, created this whole empire with the people closest to me. You know what I mean?
I'm a catch-22 on that because you know the saying, when you build something, the people at the bottom are the ones that pull you down. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And obviously, shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Or you can lift them up.
Yeah, you can. It works both ways. But it works both ways. But the thing,
it's the one. It's
easier to come like this.
come down than to pull up. But shoulda, obviously now in hindsight. But the reality is, and this is me just speaking out loud, if you were to pause whatever you were doing, let's say for example, you said now you're ego pushing forward, right? But that ego pushing forward and that Mamba mentality of you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the boy Kobe.
Hey, now I'm gonna start doing that some more if you say that.
we got the Laker colors right here.
You know, but really, because you were locked in, right? Because you were locked in, the company and what you were doing had to get to a certain degree. Let's say, for example, you did what you said right now, where you would get it, stop it, go back, ask the boys. There's too many chefs in the kitchen, man.
Yeah, that's true.
When you have too many chefs in the kitchen.
That's true. Oh, you also, yeah.
Good point, though. That's good.
So that's me because it's not you being selfish. Sometimes to be a maverick or to be a pioneer of something, you have to be selfless.
That's very true.
You know what I'm saying?
That is very true.
There are so many different ways to look at it, honestly. Like, I could have done that and went back to them, and they could have had their own ego. Like, hey, I want to manage this thing. You know what I mean? I've seen that happen with some of my friends where, you know, they just had a conflict because of that. You know what I mean? But yeah, shoulda, coulda, woulda. You know what I mean?
Because on the flip side, you know, the famous saying: if you want to go far, you go together. If you want to go fast, you go by yourself.
That's true.
So it just depends on first of all, who are your friends, and it depends on your personality.
Yeah.
Because don't forget, business changes people.
100%.
You know?
Yes.
One of the most famous hadiths by the Prophet ﷺ is that if you truly want to know someone, there's two ways. Either you travel with them, or you do with them business. So regardless of blood, regardless of friendship, bro, you know, so you have to always consider these things.
That's very true.
You have, because money changes people, you know?
Yeah.
And
or does it make more of who you are?
no, money allows you to be who you actually are. Do you know?
Yeah.
So money's not evil. It just makes people more
themselves.
Really are.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, 100%. Now, a nice mixture of going fast and far would be nice.
Absolutely.
Where you can establish yourself first and then give the people around you opportunities and trust them to, you know what I mean, like carry the torch with you. Now, it's not the easiest thing to do because, again, everyone has egos, and the people closest to you will always have the biggest ego because they're your peers. You know, how are you leading? How dare you lead this thing? I can lead it better than you. You know what I mean? So it's very, like, it's unfortunate, to be honest.
You get the biggest applause from strangers. You know?
Yeah, because we were talking about
You
that.
know, I'm being for real, man. You get the
Yeah.
biggest applause from strangers, man.
We were talking about that as well, right? About the strangers are the ones who come out the woodworks, and they're the ones who put the money in your hand
Yeah, man.
and say, hey, I believe in you. I don't know, something about you, I just believe in it. But you have people who are right next to you. Their ego says, I could do it better than you.
Not even
I grew
ego.
up with him, so how is he in position, but I'm not in
Not even
position?
ego, bro. It's
You know?
the people that are closest to you, which is so unfortunate. Where they'd be like,
Yeah.
"Yo, bro, give me a discount."
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
That's what hurts the most.
Yeah.
Where you would think your boy or whatever your people would be paying full
Yeah.
price, at least to get you off your feet.
That is
Doesn't happen.
Doesn't happen. No, it doesn't happen. You may got like one in your crew who might do that. Two in your crew if you're
And-
lucky.
Rarely.
And I'm
It's rare.
Bro, I'm a huge supporter and huge supporter of my boys when they start something, because starting is the hardest part of anything.
Yeah.
Maintaining is easy, but getting something to run
Yeah.
and executing an idea and getting it off the ground is one of the hardest thing. So
I always, honestly, everyone that like starts something, like anyone that started something, no matter how small it is, for you to take that risk, man, like I have so much respect for people that start their own thing. For like once you just follow it, whether if you're passionate about it or to you it's just like a money maker and you're just gonna take the risk and do it. It takes a lot of courage, man, and it takes a lot. It's a whole personality. Being an entrepreneur is a personality, bro. Like you either have it or you don't. You know what I mean? If you don't, you're gonna have the 9 to 5, and you know what I mean. If you do, you're gonna go all in.